Hi guys, it's a nice Sunday morning. We'll be working on this 87 Corolla. Since this is an AE86, but you probably know that. This is the third and final part of the brake rebuild series. I'll be rebuilding the brake master cylinder. In this car, the brake master cylinder is located just underneath the reservoir and is connected to the brake booster. We'll have to remove these two pipes, remove the 4 bolts connecting the brake master cylinder to the brake booster, and then the whole assembly should come off. After the assembly comes off, we will be cleaning everything and replacing the rings as well as the pistons with the ones that come in a repair kit by Toyota, and then we will be putting this thing back together, filling up the reservoir and bleeding the brake system. The first step is to remove the two brake lines. It's a good idea to put some WD-40 on the brake line nuts to make them easy to remove. And then, using the special spanner size 10, carefully unbolt the nuts. You can use a regular spanner to remove the nuts once they are loosened. You do not need a special spanner. After you remove the nuts, spray some WD-40 on the master cylinder bolts. On this side too. You may want to remove the reservoir cap, because this gives you some more room to work in here. And then just use a 12mm socket to remove the brake master cylinder. These are nuts that come off. After removing the 4 bolts, we are ready to remove the whole assembly. Carefully put the brake lines out of the way, and then pull out the master cylinder. There will be some leftover oil, so be careful removing this and moving this around. Put the excess oil in the pan. Set the brake master cylinder on the vise. And then we have to remove the reservoir so that we can clean all this up. Get the pliers and remove these two holder rings. Okay, so out comes the reservoir. Now we can remove the two holder rings. Like so. There is a lot of oil inside this cylinder, even though it does not spill out. It will only spill out when you insert something into the cylinder. I'm using the old brake lines for this, and then press against the cylinder to pump out the remaining oil. Now there is a bolt here called the stopper bolt. We have to remove this. Get the large screwdriver and pull the cylinder all the way, and then remove the stopper bolt, which is the bolt that sits here. Now we have to remove the snap ring with the pliers. So insert the screwdriver and then use the pliers to remove the ring. Okay. Out comes a piston, spring, and then there is a second piston in there. The manual says that we have to drive compressed air through this in order to remove the piston. I'm guessing this will be a mess because the oil will come gushing out, so I recommend that you insert rags on all the holes before injecting the compressed air. Let's see if we don't make a mess. Well, seems like the air is coming out of the stopper bolt, the hole. So let's see if we can plug it. Okay, just hand tighten this and then reinsert the rags and blast away. Okay, and we have our piston. The second piston comes out. There is also a second spring that will come out. There it is. And now we'll be cleaning this up because I want to paint it silver to match the calipers. I'll be using brake cleaner to clean the outside of the cylinder. I will also be cleaning the reservoir to make it look like new. Well, like new it won't always be, but it will look heaps better. And to do this I will use some soap, just a degreaser. Don't use brake cleaner for this because you may damage the plastic. This soap is the same soap I use to clean my hands after I'm done working, and it won't damage the plastic like brake cleaner made. Okay, get some high temperature paints. Let it dry. While the paint dries, carefully pry out the remains of the old gasket, because we have a gasket to make. After removing the old gasket, clean up everything. This was the best I could manage. This is enough for me to make a mold, it's like a stencil, to cut out a new gasket from gasket paper that I have. I'll show you how to do it. Gasket paper comes in a variety of sizes. For this case, since it's a rather thin paper, I'll be using a thin paper for the gasket. You can see another one here, which is much thicker. And I've used this, you can see it better. I've used this in the gearbox gasket. So it depends on the gasket you're sealing. Now the process is quite easy. Just overlay the old gasket over the paper, draw a stencil. You'll have to be creative about these parts which are broken. Make a coarse sketch so that you can cut up the gasket and then fine-tune the gasket in the place where you will be putting it. Use a razor blade to fine-tune the holes that can be hard to cut. This is a blade used in cleaning up the tint from glasses, but you can use a razor blade just for cutting the beard. It's the same. Adjust the gasket according to the place where you will be putting it. I'll be sitting the cylinder on top of this and then drawing the 4 circles so that I can cut them up correctly. Okay, so fit the gasket around the hole. And then draw the holes in the paper. There it is. Now remove it, and then with the blade cut up the holes. So there it is, new gasket. Remove the masking. I forgot, but there is a snap ring here that you should remove because we will be cleaning the grease inside and putting in some new grease. Remove your ring and clean everything inside. Now for the rebuild, we have to insert the new pistons. You need the grease for this, and then the first piston to go into the cylinder will be the one with a long tip, because one has a short tip, one has a long tip. The first one to go will be the long tip one. Also, the spring that goes in first is the spring with the most turns. There's an O-ring that's stuck here. It's to put on the elbow. Remove it carefully. We take the new piston and the spring. First goes the spring, then apply some grease to the piston rubbers. Actually, I'm applying grease to all the surface because we want this to slide without any effort and not to ruin the rubbers. Like I always say, don't skimp on the grease because it will be more expensive to replace a rubber gasket or a grommet or no ring or whatever. Okay, so nice coat of grease, and then we insert the piston into the hole. Now we take the second spring, the one with the less turns, and insert it in the hole. And then it's time for the second piston to go in the hole. Apply a coat of grease to the rubber. There it goes. Now we have to push in the piston and apply the snap ring that was in here. The kit comes with a new ring, new snap ring. Place it on your pliers. Then use your finger to orient this. You have to be very careful with this not to damage the rubbers. Okay, so there it goes. Now get the snap ring in there. And then there it is, the snap ring holding the piston. Clean the excess grease. Check the mating of the snap ring against the piston and against the notches, the notch on the cylinder assembly. Also, test the operation of the cylinder with a screwdriver. Push in the cylinder. If everything works smoothly and softly with a hissing sound like this, see? Looks like it's sucking air. It's okay. Now, the next step is to install the new stopper bolt. This comes in the kit. New stopper bolt comes in the kit. You install the new ring that also comes in the kit. Then set your torque wrench for 7 foot-pound with a screwdriver. Push in the pistons all the way, and insert the stopper bolt, and then torque the stopper bolt. Apply grease around the just a little bit around the elbow. Then insert the snap ring in the elbow. Insert it into its place. Turn turn this towards the reservoir location, because the elbow, the hose will go in here. See? This is where it will go. The elbow, the hose will go in there. So the elbow should go like this. Get your snap ring pliers and adjust the ring. So there it is. Now we have to pack some grease in here. Just a small amount. In there also. All around the elbow. And then reinsert the cap. I also coat the inside of the cap with a bit of grease. So, there goes the cap. Make sure it's seated properly. So insert the ring around the bolt. Get the bolt through here. And now it's time to tighten this up. Twist this around. Retract the ring from the hose to make it easier to fit. then twist it to make sure it fits correctly. Set the ring again in its place. Okay. Now you can torque the bolt. The torque for this is 18 foot-pounds. Okay, it's correct. Now you're ready to install this in the car. I've already cleaned the surface. Don't forget to clean the surface. Seems like our holes are not big enough, so I'll have to enlarge the holes. Don't apply any force to the gasket. It has to go straight in without any ripping or tearing, because if these rips or tears, leaks will happen. You don't want that, so enlarge the holes for it to go straight in without any problems. Okay, the gasket is applied. It's not perfect, but well, if you want it perfect, you'd go to the dealer, right? Yeah. So now let's get the brake master cylinder in there. This may need some gentle persuasion. The nuts will do the job of tightening this. Clean up the nuts before reinserting them. Hand tighten the nuts. For this side you may use the extension, it's much easier. Set your torque wrench for 9 foot-pounds. So the 4 bolts are torqued to spec. Now all that's left is reinserting the brake lines and tightening the nuts. Apply a little bit of anti-seize compound to this, just a small amount. And then hand tighten each of the 2 nuts. After hand tightening, tighten them up with the special spanner, size 10. Now clean up the excess anti-seize. Now the system is ready to be filled up and bled. So get a large screwdriver. Place some rags over the holes.